Howdy everyone, it's Sara, and today I'm here to do my June wrap-up and my July TBR. As well as my June wrap-up, I'm going to be doing a May wrap-up as well because I only read 2 books in May, so I didn't see a point in doing a May wrap-up back at the end of May, so we're just going to wrap it all up into one today. May was kind of a busy month for me. It was my last month of exams ever, so I was studying hard and all of that, so I only got around to reading 2 books. The first one took me the better part of the month, just like 2.5 weeks I think, and that is Robopocalypse by Daniel H. Wilson. I did enjoy this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It's more like a 3.5 out of 5 stars, but it's okay. There's some flaws in it, but I really enjoyed how it was set up. This book is about the apocalypse that has been brought on by artificial intelligence. I mean, it's not really anything that hasn't been done before, but the format in which it was done, I really liked. That was where pretty much the majority of the stars came from in my rating. It was set up so that in the beginning, in the prologue, I think it was, we're following this group of people who are in Alaska and they're trying to find this place and they happen upon it, and the main character, his name's Cormac, I think it is, he comes across this like black box and it's holding all of this information, and this information gets relayed to him through images and sound clips and everything. It's basically like a TV that is, you know, showing him a movie, and what this black box shows him is what the book is about. It shows him how the apocalypse happens. And all of the information in each chapter is collected through means other than firsthand experiences. So there could be either like journal entries, security cameras, the recording of a robot, and then also like Cormac's firsthand experiences. So I thought that was the main interesting point that really set this apart from other, you know, robot apocalypse, artificial intelligence taking over the world kind of books. So it was pretty good. If you're into robots and sci-fi, I would definitely check it out. But it's nothing too special. Something that is special, on the other hand, is Station 11 by Emily St.John Mandel. You've probably all heard just about enough of this book, but it's another post-apocalyptic book, but this apocalypse has been brought on by a swine flu-like virus. It takes part in Canada, which I just loved because I was familiar with all the places in this book that were mentioned because I am from the same area of Ontario that this is placed in. The main storyline follows Kirsten 20 years after the apocalypse and her travels with a traveling symphony. They're a group of survivors that play Shakespeare town to town and travel around southern Ontario, giving entertainment and life back into this post-apocalyptic world. But that's not really the storyline that got me. This book retells the stories of several different characters and how they all intertwine, and how a character named Arthur has at one point or another been the center of all of these characters' lives. I mean, I could talk for hours about this book because there are so many intertwining plot lines, and there's kind of a underlayer of King Lear. The book starts with a presentation of King Lear that Arthur, one of the main characters, is in which he dies. That happens in the first chapter. It's not really a spoiler. But there are hints of that throughout the entire book, and hints of other Shakespearean nods that if you are familiar with Shakespeare, you'll pick up on really quick, and I found that really interesting too. You don't have to know Shakespeare to really enjoy this book, but if you do, you'll enjoy it even more. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars, and it is one of my favorite reads so far this year. I have talked about it before, so sorry about rambling about it so long, but I love this book. You should definitely read it if you haven't yet. At the beginning of June, I read The Shell Collector by Anthony Doerr. You've probably heard his name because of his book, All the Light We Cannot See. It is a very well-known book right now, and the Pulitzer Prize, so he is an amazing author. His prose is absolutely gorgeous. This is a collection of short stories. Each one has a theme surrounding a different portion of nature and a person in nature. And as I've said before, how once you invite people into your one-man party, things kind of get complicated. This is about relationships and nature. It's just beautifully written prose. There's only like one or two that I wasn't really fond of, but I still really loved in this book. So I'd highly recommend picking it up. Next is definitely my favorite read so far of 2015. And it's up there with my all-time favorites now, and that is The Enchanted by Rene Denfeld. This book takes place in a prison, and it follows the story of a girl known as the Lady and how her job is to get death row inmates off of death row. She is currently trying to assist a prisoner named York who doesn't want to be off death row, and she goes back into his past, interviews people that he knew, things that happened to him as a child and as a teenager and as an adolescent that caused him to do these crimes, building a case for him so that a jury will rule him not worthy of the death penalty. The really interesting thing about this, other than that, is that it is told by a fellow inmate who is omniscient, and we don't really know how. And we don't really know if what he's saying is reliable because it's not told from anyone else's perspective other than him, and he's kind of a crazy. I was thinking about putting it on my July TBR again because I want to read it over and over and over again. The only problem I had with this book is that it wasn't long enough. Next in the month of June, I read State of Wonder by Ann Patchett. It is about a pharmaceutical scientist whose lab partner goes missing in the Amazon while on business there, and things happen, and then she has to go and, try and find him, what's happening in this business project. It's like a pharmaceutical kind of research project, so she has to go down there, see what's up with that, see if he's actually dead or what happened to him. So most of it is set in the Amazon. The bulk of this is about how this 40-year-old woman that is a pharmaceutical scientist sees the very, very depths of the Amazon. It's based around a tribe that has been contacted very, very little. So how she takes that in and how she deals with the fact that she is in the middle of nowhere with scary brown water all around her and like snakes that can kill you that you can't even see and stuff. And it's how she deals with that, but then also the mystery of the Amazon and what happens there. And I don't want to ruin it, but it is a really good book. I mean, it's 400 pages. First 100, 150 are not that great. They're set in like Minnesota or something. It's kind of boring. But once you get to the Amazon, it is super interesting and it's definitely worth a read. Next, I'm not going to say too much about this one because I've talked about it a lot before, but it is Make Something Up, Stories You Can't Unread by Chuck Palahniuk. This is his latest collection of short stories. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads because I liked half of them and hated half of them. But if you're planning on reading it, it's definitely worth it for the other half that I liked. But there are mixed reviews on it. I mean, people love the ones I hate and hate the ones I love. So you kind of got to read it for yourself. It's definitely really weird and classic Palahniuk, so I would highly recommend this to anyone who just wants something really weird and strange and something refreshingly different. Last on my list was a really surprising read. I picked this up on Book Outlet for like $1.50 or something, and that is The Necromancer's House by Christopher Buehlman. What's also really cool about this is like it's signed. It's a hardback that I think was in Scratch and Dent, and it's signed, and I got it for like $1.50. And I mean, it's a really good book. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It's kind of up and down. Like there's some parts I didn't like and other parts that I really liked. You kind of have to hang on all the way through to the end. There was a little tidbit at the end that was quite problematic for me. So you'll have to read it to figure it out. But I wasn't a fan of it. So if you read this, talk to me so I can talk to you about it because I have not met anyone who's read this before and I really got to get it out how problematic part of the ending is for me. But this is about a recovering alcoholic warlock who lives in upstate New York in a cabin. He has a backstory with Baba Yaga, which is a Russian fairy tale. So this is kind of like a Russian fairy tale retelling, but it's more like a side story of an already existing Russian fairy tale. Baba Yaga, I believe, it doesn't really explain her much in here, but from what I know about Russian fairy tales, I believe she's this old lady. I think she eats children in the forest or something like that. She's scary. She comes through mirrors and stuff. You can't look at her. She goes around in like a pot and like, you know, like a skillet or something. I think she like moves herself around with twigs or something. I don't know. It's a really weird Russian fairy tale, but that's what the majority of this is based off of. Andrew, the main character, the warlock, has had a running in with her in the past. Something really bad happened, and then it so happens that he summons a creature that kills someone who is like related to Baba Yaga. So then their worlds have to collide again. And most of this book is just basically a war in between Baba Yaga and this younger warlock, Andrew. It's really good. It's a surprising read. I've been, kind of into magic lately. So this curbed my craving for a magical book, and it was just really wonderful. So now for my July TBR. I want to go hard this month because I don't know how all of you read any more than like 5 books a month. Like, do you not have jobs? Do you not watch Netflix? Like, that's what I do with my time. I spend so much time watching Netflix, I don't have any time to read. And I think that's a legitimate excuse, I got into Hemlock Grove recently. That's really good. So, stop reading and go watch Hemlock Grove. So I don't feel so bad about only reading 5 books a month. So yeah. Anyways, my goal for this month is going to be 6 books. I'm halfway through one, like a quarter through another one so far, and it's only the first day. So I think I'm doing pretty good so far. The first one is Hollow City by Ransom Riggs. This is the second book in the I haven't resolved how to say her name yet. Miss Peregrine is how I say it in my head. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I really like the first book. It's about a group of children who have peculiar talents. There's like an invisible boy and stuff. And they kind of run into some trouble, and this book is them getting deeper into trouble. I read like half of it in like one sitting. It is very good so far, so I'm planning on finishing that like probably today. It's looking good so far. Next on my list is Wait for Last Year by Philip K. Dick. This was on my TBR last month, but I bought new books and this one got pushed off my TBR. But yeah, this is a classic Philip K. Dick book. Space, Earth Wars, planetary wars, drugs. It's just another one in the Philip K. dynasty that I'm really looking forward to read. Next on my list is a book that I got from my friend. She lent it to me, so I'm going to try and read it as soon as I can. She's a really big fan of it, and that is Johannes Cabal, the Necromancer by Jonathan L. Howard. I'm reading a lot of books about necromancy. That's kind of weird, but whoops. So this is a book, I don't really remember too much about what it's about, but I believe that Johann is in love with a girl or something, and she dies, I think, and he has to go, like, make a deal with the devil or something, and it's just, like, wonderful, mysterious, kind of spooky tales of his journey and stuff, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think it is a series, 3-part series? I'm not sure. There's more books than this one, so I'm looking forward to getting into this series. Not really in a series, but this one looks like it will be worth it. Next on my TBR this month is Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. I'm not going to talk about this one because you all know exactly what it's about, but I'm going to read it because I know it'll be quick and easy, and it won't be a sacrifice if I don't like it, which I don't think I will, but I'm going to give it a try anyways, just in case I do like it. Next on my list is Of Bees and Mist by Erick Setiawan. I'm feeling really magic-y lately, really into magical realism, so that's why I picked this one. I think, I'm mostly all magical realism this month, but I think it follows 3 generations of women in their mystical town. I think they're witches or something. One falls in love and she has to hide like the mysteries from her love or something. I don't know, but witchcraft and mysteries and magic, and I just love those things. Lastly on my list is Undeniable: Evolution and the Science of Creation by Bill Nye. I've just been kind of poking through this one whenever I have a minute or two, so I'm planning on finishing it this month, hopefully. It's a little slow because I know too much about the topic to really enjoy it, but I do enjoy it. So I'm hoping to finish it this month. So guys, that's all for this month. Please wish me luck on reading 6 full books this month because I need all the luck I can get. I don't know how you guys do it. I just watched a wrap up this morning, and this girl, she read 12 books last month. I'm like, what, girl? What are you doing? Do you read like from sun up to sundown? I just don't know how you do it. So, hats off if you can read more than 5 books a month, because I, faux show, cannot. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I always like hearing your comments. I love talking to you guys. I promise I'll talk back to you if you talk to me, because I just love talking, and I especially love talking about books. You can find me on Goodreads, Twitter, and I'm going to add my Tumblr on there. It doesn't really have anything to do with books. It's just like pictures and funny stuff, but I'll put it down on the doobly-doo if you want to follow me for some reason. I don't know. It has nothing to do with books, but I love Tumblr. That's probably why I don't read very much, because I'm on Tumblr all the time. God damn it. Anyways, have a wonderful July. I hope all of you Canadians enjoyed your Canada Day today. It was a good one, wasn't it? Lots of fireworks and beer and poutine. Just all the things I love. Please tell me if you have read any of these books or thoughts on them, if you want to discuss any of them with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.